right, welcome into another episode of the 2022 MLB Draft Show. We're going back to Florida State, going back to Tallahassee, going back to the Seminoles, and another lefty, man. We're going back to Parker Messick here, Plant City, Florida zone. Parker, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be on.
Absolutely, man. Excited to have you. Excited to talk a little Florida State baseball and what's to come. But as you probably know, what we like to do here, I like to just open it up, tell the viewers, tell the listeners who Parker Messick is, how he likes to attack hitters on the mound, and then also the second part of that, a little bit about you off the field, what you like to do on your spare time.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'm Parker Messick.
I gotta say, Parker, you came as advertised.
I'm a left-handed pitcher at Florida State. On the mound, I'm kind of a very intense pitcher. I like to really attack hitters, and I like to throw, all my pitches, my whole arsenal in every count, and really utilize the fact that, I'm able to throw 4 pitches for a strike, and I'll use that in any situation, any count. Pretty much how I go about, attacking hitters, lefty or righty. It really doesn't matter. Off the field, I'm a pretty small town country guy. I enjoy hunting and fishing.
Oh, got one. He's a monster. Woo-hoo-hoo! Ty, he's not even a pound.
Doing all that, and pretty much most of my time spent on the field. But when it's not, I'm either, I'm a big faith-based guy as well. So I'm either, at church or hunting and fishing, doing something like that.
All right, man. Let's talk a little bit about that arsenal that you were talking about. So fastball, curveball, slider, Bugs Bunny changeup against righties. Do you have a baseball? If you have a baseball, I'd love to kind of talk about your pitch grips and how you like to attack hitters, what your process is.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, the changeup's usually the go-to. I've been working on developing my slider a lot better. It's gotten a lot harder, a lot sharper, so it differentiates from the curveball. So it's a true 4-pitch mix, and it's a different look for the hitters, both lefty and righty, for all 4 pitches. But yeah, the changeup's the go-to. I can kind of manipulate it for like a power change in the dirt when I want to strike 3, and when I want to throw it in the zone for just to get me over strike. That's kind of something I've thrown the same grip since I think my freshman year of high school. So it's just kind of something I've been able to play with. That's what, 6-7 years of throwing the same pitch. So you kind of learn a feel for it, to learn how to manipulate it in different ways. And that's kind of something that's gotten it to be, a really good pitch. And it's something I continue to work on. I don't know. I do have a baseball sitting here. It's a weird grip. I mean, I don't know if you can see. It's kind of, I always say, my knuckles are around the N, and then I put a little circle change around the U, and that's kind of how I throw it, and just really work on pronating and driving it over, driving through the pitch and driving it down into the ground, and that's kind of how it puts that spin on the ball and really, makes it sink and fade away.
So do you keep your 3 fingers off of the stitches? You kind of rest them on the horseshoe? Yeah.
I put my 2 middle fingers, my index and my ring, or my middle and my ring finger, I put on the seams of the ball, and then I put a circle around the opposite side of the ball, and then just kind of let my pinky hang on the side as just a balance, just where I can feel the ball so it doesn't roll out of my hand. But the main 2 fingers that do the work are the 2 middle, and I just use those 2 to rip through the seams. Very untraditional grip for a changeup, but it works for me.
I mean, it's a feel pitch. At the end of the day, you got to be able to rotate over the ball. So that's obviously something that you've shown the ability to do. Let's talk about the 2 breaking balls, because for my money, I thought the slider was a little bit ahead of the curveball last year. What's something that you're looking to improve upon going into 2022? Is there a pitch that you're looking to kind of refine and I guess maybe focus on, rebuild?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, the slider was something I was this fall has been a really developmental fall, just trying to keep the velo, where it's at, maybe build it a little bit more, and, keep the change up, being able to throw it for strikes whenever I want. But the slider is something I've really been trying to develop and making it harder and sharper. And it used to be something that would sit 78 to 79, 80. And I've really gotten it up to, the mid to lower 80s now, with a lot sharper and shorter break, to where it's more of a true slider. And the curveball is going to be that typical 76 to to 80 mile an hour, big bender. It's not a 12-6 curve, but it's still got that, curveball shape, even though it may look a little more slurvy. So on TV, it's hard to tell. Some people get even when I throw changeups, they'll think they're sliders. So it's hard to tell from the TV, but the slider's getting a lot harder and sharper, and that's something I've really wanted to develop to make the curveball, play a little bit better off of it.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit harder slider is certainly going to play off your heavier, fastball changeup arsenal. Kind of working that 2-plane break.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has your fall and winter looked like? Because you've had a busy scrimmage practice and scrimmage schedule. Have you had time to get in front of the Rapsodo? Have you had time to use the Edgertronic cameras? I guess a better way of approaching the question might be, how much do you incorporate tech into your training, into your development? Is it something that you really like to incorporate, or are you just kind of more of a feel, I want to see how it leaves the hand type of guy? Yeah,
so I definitely like to incorporate it some. I'm not the type of guy that's going to sit in front of it all day, and that's the only thing I worry about. Because to me, you can have the best, spin, movement, all that stuff in the world, but if you can't use it on the mound, then it's not going to do you much good if you don't know how to compete with it. So I'm more of a mentality type of guy on the mound, and just be able to compete. But I do use that stuff, to help make my pitches better. So me and Bryce had pretty much the same schedule going through the fall. We would throw a bullpen early in the week and then throw live later in the week. Not just kind of like a normal spring rotation where your bullpen's, whatever, Tuesday for a Friday night start. That's kind of how they had me planned all fall. So Tuesday would be under the Rapsodo, and I would get to throw my bullpens and look at, the movement of all my pitches. Then it kind of stayed relatively the same, and I would work on increasing the spin rate of my fastball, try and get more swings and misses up in the zone. And because my fastball sometimes, even though it's not a high spin rate fastball, I guess it's because of my arm action, I get some late life up in the zone and get some swing and misses up there. So I tried to really figure that out and, see if I could continue doing that, if I could raise the spin rate a little more to make it really effective up in the zone. And same thing with my slider and my curveball. I try to make them, spin it a little harder and get the spin efficiency to as close to 100 on the fastball as I could. We work on that on bullpen days, and then for the live days, you just kind of let that, your preparation throughout the week, you let it eat on your live day, and that's when I get to compete.
So where do you want to be in February? I mean, you got 3-4 months here leading up to the 2022 season. Where are you looking to grow? What kind of pitcher do you want to be in terms of velo, arsenal? Do you have any checkpoints or markers that you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's always room to get better, and I want to keep improving on my curveball, keep making it sharper and harder. Because like you said, the slider is getting what was typically a little bit better. So is the changeup and the fastball. So the curveball is something that I'm looking to continue to make a little sharper and bite a little harder. Same thing with the slider. I want to keep building velo. Obviously, everybody always wants to throw harder. So I'm continuing working on my body and making it stronger and healthier, and keep building my core and making sure that my core and my legs are, as strong as possible, and keep building the velo and, make sure my mechanics are as clean as possible. So that's something I'll be working on in the off season, because we actually just finished up our throwing program for the fall, where Florida State baseball is done for the fall now. So I'm moving into the off season program where I, take a little bit of time off, necessarily the arm, but, get to build the body and make sure it's strong and it's healthy, to start ramping up towards December, I want to say, and start ramping up for the spring.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a busy winter ahead, because not only are you planning for the 2022 season, but I'm sure you've started to get inquiries from teams on introductory Zoom calls, getting to know area scouts, getting to know supervisors. Yeah. Have you had any of those calls yet? And I guess, has there been a question that has stood out kind of as a weird question early on here?
I've had a few calls. They're starting to come more and more as the winter comes on and everybody's kind of on their off time. But I wouldn't say necessarily there was any weird questions. A lot of people are, they're just trying to get to know me personally and figure out what type of kid I am. So I typically like to, mess around and be myself on the calls and stuff. Nothing normal than how I am. A pretty goofy kid if you meet me in person. So I just kind of, tend to be myself and and there's nothing really too weird that they ask. It's kind of the same stuff, just about home life and all that stuff. Nothing too weird. It's all pretty fun.
The type of guy that you are, is there a quality about a team, a quality about a player development system that you're looking for at the next level?
Not necessarily anything specific. I like to go in and kind of adapt to whatever environment I'm in. I definitely want to be able to continue to be myself and be able to share my faith and everything, and be able to pitch like I've always known how to pitch mentality wise. And I like to show a lot of emotion, on positive emotion. I never show any sort of negative emotion if I can help it. And so I want to obviously be somewhere where they like the intensity and, like a strikeout celebration or pound the glove and whatnot. Cause I like to do a lot of that. It's just pure emotion. So definitely a teams that like that kind of a positive emotion.
So not a guy that's going to chuck a ball over the center field fence if you get lit up.
No, I will calmly walk off the field when they pull me off.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, people give him crap, but I get flustered, man.
It's a lot of stress. I can understand it. That can definitely be me.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised more people haven't done it, to be honest. But well, let's get into these more personality-based questions, because you seem like a guy that has a really strong personality. People kind of vibe towards you. So you've been at this since 2019 with Florida State. You've traveled all up and down the Southeast, played at a million different schools. I got to ask, is there a fan base that stands out that you just thought didn't really bring it?
Didn't bring it? There's a lot of everywhere we went, for the most part, had a good amount of fans. Even though it was kind of COVID, it was like capacity. Georgia Techs were pretty easy on us. There wasn't too much loud stuff going there. Notre Dame was kind of the same because it was pretty cold and the weather had a lot to do with it. But Georgia Tech, everybody was there wasn't a lot of chirping and everything. The worst we got was by far Virginia Tech. It was
really
not necessarily the loudest, but they're just on the field. And as far as chirps from the fans, I have never heard anything like it. I can't go into specifics of what they were saying, but that is by far the worst I've ever heard it. But it was a fun time being there. It was great to play in that environment, but that was by far the worst chirps I've ever heard from fans.
Kind of going back to your traveling, is there a hitter that has stood out that you've had to face over the last few years that he really caught your attention at how talented he was?
Yeah. So actually, one of my good buddies over at Wake, Brock Wilkin, he came to Florida State this year. So I've only ever really played everybody once because of the COVID year. I was freshman. So last year was basically the first year I got to go through all the lineups, and we played Brock at home. And I don't know that he did anything necessarily on Friday night when I was throwing. I think he may have went over, but he put the bat on the ball, maybe one or two times, pretty good. But just that whole weekend, he just dominated lineups, and I see him tearing it up in the Cape. And Wake Forest baseball posting a home run video about him every once in a while. But that kid can really hit. Over quarantine, he would always catch my bullpens and stuff because we're from the same area. So he is a really good hitter, and he is someone that I anticipate being a high draft pick, and he's just really fun to watch hitting. And I wasn't looking forward to facing him because he had caught me so many times that I figured.
I was gonna say, man.
Yeah. So I mean, that may have been a bad idea on my part, but he's a really good player, and hopefully I get to have another good matchup with him this spring over at Wake.
Going into the quarantine, we did this the last 2 years. Henry Davis, last year's #1 pick, caught Ryan Cusick over and over and over and over during the quarantine. And so they didn't have to face each other, but I was just thinking, man, Ryan, you're taking a little bit of a risk here, man, if you guys see each other in Omaha, but it didn't happen. So
lucky to get me through 99 at the top zone. I actually had the luxury of facing him as a hitter when we played them at our place, and it did not go very well for me.
I wouldn't imagine, man.
99 to 101, and I hadn't picked up a bat in 2 years, so that was pretty intense for me.
A little terrifying.
Yeah, it was I was swinging, but I wasn't making very much contact.
I mean, swinging is more than most people would do, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got one more question for you. It's kind of the staple of the show. What is the dumbest fact that you know about anything on Earth that not a lot of people know?
Dumbest fact. a random talent. Everybody likes to make fun of me for that. I actually got it got put on our Seminole spotlight for, it's just something that our school does, is random, they pick a random athlete and do this whole little video on them. And I didn't know what it was for, so I just filled it out and it said random talent, and I put dancing because I like to dance, and I'll dance pretty much any type of music, and I'm pretty good at it. I'll do it just being funny, but I enjoy doing it, and I literally will dance the entire time in the locker room, pre and post game. And I had to send in a video of me dancing. It was the most embarrassing thing ever, but I did it. It was really funny. That's a pretty embarrassing fact. That
What do you dance to? What do you prefer to dance to?
Honestly, Spanish music.
Really?
We got a transfer from Miami to Alex Terrell, and he started playing Spanish music in the locker room, and I'll dance. Me and him will dance to it every day in the locker room, just messing around.
Really? Just salsa? I mean, anything.
Yeah, I can line dance to a little bit of country music too, but the Spanish music, gets me going a little bit.
That's wild, man. That's not something I would have tabbed on you.
Yeah.
Good on you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Good on you. You're going to be a hit at weddings.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. It's finally getting to that time of my life.
Absolutely, man. Well, Parker, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a pleasure. We're big fans of you over at Prospects Live. Really excited to see what happens with you and Florida State in 2022. I think you got a big year ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you.